What's your feeling that you're getting from the people in your electorate, the people out bush?
A lot of people out bush are just absolutely hateful and resentful of the Labor Party, and that's federally and in the Northern Territory. I think that the member for Lingiari will maybe win with a small margin, and there's a possibility that he could lose.
What are they saying? What do they want that they're not getting?
Oh, well, housing is a major issue, roads is a major issue, dialysis is a major issue, and these are issues that are very, very close to Indigenous people living out in the bush. I mean, like I said in Parliament, these people don't want to be in town. They are forced to come into town to get access to medical services, and either we have a look at a different structure, and there's a case in this discussion, Dave, that there's a guy at Mount Leby called Leo Peterson who's now been given his own dialysis machine, and he's in town this week because the water out there was too hot, so the machine just doesn't function if the water's really, really hot, and because the pipes are just on the surface. So all that infrastructure has to be put in there for people, and if you take Leo back, you actually take back 27 people.
So have you in any way managed to cost what it would cost to put decent dialysis facilities on communities?
Oh look, I had a stop in at the Purple House yesterday with Sarah Brown, which was a fantastic couple of hours for me, and Sarah's just saying people really don't want to be in town. It's just too much cost for them, not just for themselves but their families as well, because their whole family structure comes into town with them. And they're really, really shamed and, hurtful that these people then go and drink alcohol and create antisocial behaviour, but they're sick people and they have to come into town. And I haven't spoken to Sarah about any actual cost about putting either one or two machines into these communities, and that could be one of the options that we have a look for Patrick Jungrai out at Kiwirgura.
But so you're suggesting that the government's really got to look at the whole cost of this, not just the cost of the dialysis, but the cost of what happens when 27 people are coming into Alice Springs and there's not proper accommodation for them. There's the cost of the antisocial behaviour that might arise from that situation, etc., etc.
Exactly, and children not going to school, because the whole family structure just moves into town. So it's one renal patient, 27 to 30 people. Out of that might be 7 school children that then don't go to school. So really they have to have a plan for the future. What is it that they want to see in towns like Tennant Creek, Katherine and Alice Springs, and what is it that they want to see in these growth towns in remote Aboriginal communities? So really just ad hoc policies that they create because they see the literacy and numeracy results coming in and go, oh my God, the whole of the territory's failed in literacy and numeracy, let's change the policy. So it's ad hoc and just reactive to crisis.
You were, though, involved in the development of the hub policy. Do you still believe that that could bear fruit, that it could be successful? Oh,
look, absolutely. I think it has all the potential as long as the money's there. Money to do the roads. If you don't connect these communities up by proper injection of infrastructure, which is roads, nothing is going to work. If it's all about pulling in the current money that we have inside the system, it's not going to work. It's about really putting in the effort to make these hubs work.
And presumably it's also about developing viable economic communities in those hubs.
Well, look, one of the things that regional development, which is Carl's department at the moment, should be doing and should have done, is actually go out and see if there's a viability in these communities with the hub towns. I mean, there's nothing to say that Yuendamu can't have a hairdresser or a news agency or privately owned Indigenous takeaway or a cafeteria. There's nothing to stop any of this stuff from happening. What they've got to go out and do is assess the community to see if there's potential in these communities. And
does it need leases, though? Do they need leases before we can see business developing on community? Do they need to have this lease-back arrangement that was touted in the intervention? I mean, what is happening in that regard?
I believe from someone I spoke to yesterday, Dave, that Hermannsburg's agreed to the leases now, and so is Lajamanu. And I think Yuendamu's the only one that's holding out at the moment. But these are really, really great economic opportunities for people. But what they have to do is see if people want to run these businesses as well, because it's no good just setting up a hub in a community and people still unemployed. People still haven't got no idea what's happening outside their community. They have to be involved in Alice Springs and themselves and to see where they're travelling, because it is about a journey, you know, a new journey.